Hey guys, I'm just getting things set up here. One second. No. All right. Just give it a minute, see if anyone wants to hop on the live. Today's live is going to be about following your dreams, kind of taking some time to check in, see where your life is, what you want it to look like, what dreams you have on the back burner, what your heart is saying that maybe you're not listening to, or maybe you hear it, but you're like, no, I'm good. I can't do that. These are the reasons why. We're going to do some guided exercises and just take a closer look at kind of where we are in our lives, where we maybe want to see changes, and how to make that happen. So I'm using StreamYard so I can share my presentation. So let me share my screen here real quick. Oh, and if you're live, let me know. Give me a hashtag live. If you're catching the replay, let me know. Give hashtag replay. Let me know that you stopped by. There is a delay in comments with using StreamYard. So if I don't respond during the live, don't worry, I will respond later. But as we go along, like make comments, ask questions. Even if I don't see it right away, I will definitely see it later. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen here. Let's see, this one. Oh wait, did I do that right? So if you're live, let me know if you can see my screen here. Give it a second to upload. I'm looking over here because I have another monitor open with Facebook, but for some reason I don't see the live on it. I'm new to using StreamYard, so let me open my phone for a second and see. Oh, I see it on there. Okay. Okay, one second. I'm going to change something. I'm going to change my setting if I can. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to change the setting to this. And I think that might look better. All right. Thanks for your patience. 1 second here. All right. Okay. Sorry. All right. Realized I had my headphones in. All right. Can you hear me? Sorry, I just realized I had my headphones in, so that first part you might not have been able to hear. Sorry. So again, let me know if you're catching the live. Let me know if you're catching the replay. Sorry for that botched beginning there. So let's talk about following your dreams and taking control of your life. What that looks like, what that means, some questions, like we're gonna go through some exercises here. So welcome, my name is Jess, and I want you to grab a pen and paper today. If you're driving, then maybe visit this live later on the replay, because this isn't just a listen to me talk live. This is a let's ask ourselves some questions. Let's take a moment to actually take a look at our lives and see what we might want to change, and how to do that. So I am gonna have some questions, some exercises. So go grab a pen and paper right now. Yeah, so I want you to get the most out of your time. This is for you. So follow along, answer the questions. If you watch the replay, pause it, take some time to like answer the guided questions. Like this is really for you. So I want you to take time here to get real with yourself. Or else like just continue what you've been doing, get the same results, don't see any change. Like that's kind of like when it comes to our lives and creating a life we love, moving our lives in the direction that we want, like it takes conscious effort. It takes conscious action, conscious decisions, conscious effort. I'm gonna say effort again, to make change. Or else, things will just stay the same. You can have change or you can have things stay the same. But hang with me here. I'm going to ask some questions, and these questions are to guide you. All right, so diving right in here. This is question number 1. And you might like think this is like just blow this off, but like, have you actually taken the time to stop and write this down? Because I know that I certainly didn't. For the first 30 some years of my life, I was just reactionary and like whatever happens, happens. Like I was not taking control of my life, and I never took the time to write this down. So what is something that you feel deep down you want to do with your life? It can be something career related. It could be something hobby related. It can be anything. It could be a skill you want to learn. It could be a side job you want to start, your own business that you want to start. It can be anything. So no filters here. No, forgetting the word, but no like, I could do this, but I can't because like there's no filters. Like this is dream life scenario here. So don't water it down with limitations, self-limitations, or outer imposed limitations. Like, what would you do if you could do anything? You know that movie Limitless? If you were given a limitless pill, magic pill, you had no limitations, nothing holding you back, what would you do? If you feel like sharing it in the comments, go ahead, but definitely like take time to ask yourself this, because most of us, myself included, like we just kind of go on like climb the ladder life, like maybe go to school, get a job, get married, buy a house, get a dog, have kids. Like there's just like this ladder where it's like going, and we often don't stop to ask, like, what do we actually want to do with our lives? Because a lot of times, like, we start on one career path and we find at some point that it's not fulfilling us, but we like just keep going on it. Like, I did this. So like I'm speaking from experience. But yeah, just like I'm like pausing here. I'm going kind of slow in this because like I want to give you time to think. If you could do anything, what would it be? And if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? Would you open a winery? Would you learn how to knit? Would you move to Costa Rica? Would you start your own graphic design business? Like, would you write a book? What would you do if you could do anything? So write it down. If you need to come back to this, it's fine if you're in the live, but I'm gonna go ahead, but like I want you to actually write this down. And here's a guided kind of manifesto statement, because there's power in stating it. There's power in writing it down rather than just thinking about it, because you can think about stuff and spin out all day, but it just stays in your head. It doesn't get out. Getting it out onto paper is really powerful. There's plenty of studies and stuff backing this up. Like writing it down is powerful. It like kind of helps your brain look at it and think about it in a different way. If it's written down, it's like more real. So here's a guided statement, kind of a manifesto dream statement. So go ahead and write this down. I want to blank because blank. Doing blank will make me feel. Doing blank will allow me or my family to be able to. Because what we need to do here is not just have a dream that's vague. We need to have a specific dream and know why we want it. It's important because it allows us to do this. It gives us location freedom. It lets us be able to work from home. It lets us be able to travel half the year. It lets us be able to travel the whole year. It lets us, save up to buy that house that we want. It lets us be able to live on a boat. There needs to be like a because, and there also needs to be emotion involved. Emotion, if you've listened to my free mindset training video series, emotions are one of the 5 components of mindset. Emotions are the fuel. Like, you're not getting anywhere fast without, in your car, you're not getting anywhere fast without fuel, right? Emotions are the fuel that drives the actions of our lives. It's the fuel that drives the boat or the car, the vehicle, our life. And without emotion behind our dream and what we want, there's nothing spurring us to make it happen. So it goes on the back burner, back there with cleaning out the air vent, the things that we know we should do that we can do it later. It goes on the back burner. It needs to be in the forefront of our life, the forefront of our brain, the forefront of our subconscious, and connecting what we want to happen in our lives with emotion of it is just going to help us stay the course. It's going to help us get invested in it. It's going to spur us into action. So I want to, because doing this is going to make me feel this. It's going to make me feel proud. It's going to make me feel energized. It's going to make me feel less stressful, happier, whatever it is. You need to connect emotion to it. And also bringing in what it will allow you to do, or your family to do, would allow you to travel or to buy a house, or move to a better school district, save for your kids' college fund, whatever it is. It's helpful to, 1, connect it to emotion, and 2, connect it to something greater than just yourself, the bigger picture, what it does for your life and what that means for others as well. So hopefully you wrote this down. If not, revisit it. We're going to come back to this. This is really important. This is the beginning step of redirecting your life, pivoting, getting serious about a change that you want to make, a direction you want to go, is first stating it, giving yourself permission to allow yourself to state your dream is the first step, and 1, believing it's possible, and then making it happen, making it possible. So state it to create it. I want to because doing this will make me feel. Doing this will allow me or my family to be able to this, right? Okay. So now with this unfiltered dream in mind, I'm going to start my own graphic design business. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to buy a van and travel full-time in it. I'm going to, sell all my belongings and hike the Pacific Crest Trail, whatever it is. With this unfiltered dream in mind, step 2 of all of this is working through the limitations that have held us back so far. Because there's a reason that you haven't done this yet, and we need to find out what that is. If you don't identify what has held you back, you can't move past it. So I want you to, again, write this down. You have your dream. Now I want you to spend some time naming what has held you back. And this can be self-limitations that you feel you're not good enough, smart enough, ready enough, young enough, old enough, whatever. Or it can be outside, perceived outside limitations like I don't have the funding. I am afraid I'll, lose my job, or like lose my job, lose friends, lose this, lose that, whatever it is. You need to name it. And again, writing it down, getting out of your head and onto paper. This does two things. One, it helps us get rid of all the chaos and the clutter and the spinning around of like, well, what if this, what if that, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, all that spin out. Yeah, I know about that. It helps clear that. And it also helps us get real about what are perceived limitations and what are ones that we need to work through. And another thing that this does is just going down the rabbit hole of like, what if, what if, what if? It not only helps us clear it out of our mind so we can move past it, it also helps us realize like, what is really the worst that could happen? Like actually writing down, going down the rabbit hole, I call it. So what you do is, you write down kind of like, well, I'm afraid that this might happen. I'm afraid that this might happen. I'm afraid that this might happen. Write that down and then write, then what? So by following the then what rabbit hole, it helps us mentally walk through the scenarios that we're afraid of, and one, realize the reality that they're probably not going to happen. All these fears that we have, the what if, what if, what if, helps us realize the possibility that this crazy stuff we're scared of probably won't actually happen. But if it does, then what? So it helps you logically walk through the step. I have an example here. I'm afraid to fail at my business idea. Okay, then what? So if you started it and you failed, first define failing. Say like you put all your life savings in and you list everything. So then what? The next fear is I'm afraid I'm going to lose my life savings and I'll end up broke on the streets. Then what? I'll have to move in with my sister. Okay, then what? Well, then I would get some sort of waitressing job and then work on my dream job on the side. Okay, then what? So like asking then what helps your brain walk through what you're actually afraid of. And a lot of times seeing it on paper, either one helps us realize like, oh, this fear is kind of irrational, like stuff I'm afraid of probably isn't going to happen. But two, like if it does, like what's the worst case scenario? And seeing it written out on paper, oftentimes you're like, oh, okay, well, it's not that bad. Like even if the worst of the worst of the worst happened, like I still will be okay and I have a backup plan. Does this make sense? If you guys are live or on the replay, give me a yes in the comments if this is helping, if this is making sense. Because a lot of times we let vague fear just stop us. So here's the thing. These are universal fears that we all have. They're like in our DNA, like evolutionary, in our psyche, we're have this natural tendency to be afraid of failure and have like and rejection and these together. They're kind of the same, but a lot of times we're afraid to do something different, to step out, to speak up because we're afraid people will laugh at us, people won't like us, people will kick us out of the pack. And in evolutionary times, that means you die. So, we have this part of our internal, like a motherboard brain, lizard brain, where we're just innately afraid to be different or do something scary because we're innately afraid of failure and rejection. And a lot of times this shows up in procrastination or perfectionism, the what if spin out, the, conform, don't be different type thing, like chameleon behavior, like changing ourselves to fit in, like all of these like things that we do like fall into the two big universal fears of fear of failure, rejection, and fear of losing control. Fear of losing control is big and it's sneaky because, we fear, oh, I don't know if what will happen, like I can't control it, and it makes us not do anything when really we don't have any control anyways. So it's one of those like catch-22, stay in the cycle things where we don't do something because like, oh, we can't control the outcome. What if this happens? What if that happens? But even if you don't do anything at all, like you're still not controlling anything. So taking action, taking purposeful action is the remedy for this. So again, these are universal fears. I have them, you have them, we all have them. They affect us in different ways. They show up in different ways. I actually brought some water in here. But we all have them. So you're not alone. You're not alone in these, but you're also not off the hook for letting these stop you. Okay? You're not allowed to let fear, failure, rejection stop you from living your life. I'm not gonna let you do that. So, these two universal fears, they're what cause us to not speak up, to not try, excuse me, to not show up, to not dare, to not dream, to not live our lives how we want to. They keep us from being ourselves. I know that that's been my case for sure. So the more that you consciously overcome these fears by taking little small actions every day, speaking up when you're scared to, sending that email when you're scared to, making that call even though you're scared to, buying that domain name for your business even though you're scared to, the more that you take conscious effort and control, when you feel these moments of fear, the more you're going to rewire your brain to act on what is important to you. And that is going to allow you to take more control of your life and create a life you love. So let's talk about failure. But what if I fail? Here's the thing about failure. You have to make a mental shift that failure is not a bad thing. Okay? Because here's the thing about failure. Failure will get you further than your fear will. Failure will get you further on your path to your dream life. Failure will get you further on that path than your fear will. Fear is going to keep you stuck in place. It'll keep you stuck from trying, from starting, from daring, from dreaming, for, speaking up, standing up. Fear will just stop you. Failure, you might be stumbling down the path, but at least you're like on the path. Failure will teach you along the way. So you're actually moving on the path, failing, getting back up, failing, getting back up. Because by failing, we learn. We learn, oh, this didn't work for us. Oh, maybe we should try it this way. Maybe we need to work on this skill. Okay, like me, that now I have that. Oh, I messed up here. Like, okay, I just tweak this. Like, failure is how you learn. I'm a rock climber. I went and I saw this film once at Real Rock, and Chris Sharma. He's a really, really good rock climber. was, it was a film about him, and he said this thing that I still remember it. He said, if you're not failing, if you're not, for rock climbing, failing means falling. If you're not failing, then you're not trying hard enough. If you're not failing, you're not pushing yourself. You're not finding your limit. You're just staying in your little perfect comfort zone. Because in your comfort zone, everything's easy, nothing's hard. You're not falling. Climbing 5/8s, 5/9s, I'm not falling. Like, this is easy. But like push it up to 5/10 and it's like, oh, I start to get scared. I start to be unsure of my skill and my ability, and I might fall. But you're not going to progress in anything. You're not going to progress in rock climbing. You're not going to progress in improving yourself, expanding yourself, growing yourself, if you're not failing. So failing just means that you're trying. It means you're trying something that you're not comfortable with. And that's a good thing. I see this, I don't rock climb as much now anymore, but I see this all the time mountain biking. Last year was my first year mountain biking in Durango. It's like mountain biking mecca. Like, pros come here to train. So many trails. And all the trails are pretty technical. So last year I was like, oh, I thought I could mountain bike because I had done it like in the past. And it's so much harder here. And I was just falling and falling and falling. I fell in this one spot in my hip like 4 different times, and I still have like a bruise. It was like almost a year ago, and I still have a bruise there because I kept falling on the same spot. But through all of that, through being pummeled and falling over and over and over, I started getting better. I started realizing what my bike could do. I started realizing I just need one more pedal stroke, or I need to gear down into a harder gear so I can have the power. I needed to, work on skills, like lift my wheel and make tight turns. So it was learning through the failure that made me a better rider now. And it's the same thing with your life. It's the same thing with whatever you're going through, whatever change you want to make, whatever you want to just explore, like try. Like, just want to encourage you that let go of the fear of failure, because 1, it's inevitable, and 2, it's not a bad thing. It means you're trying, and it means that you're learning. So here's more about failure. Failure has the potential to guide us to be better. And it summons us to find strength we didn't know we had. It teaches us to help hone skills. Like, oh, okay, I need to just improve this. And to dig deeper into our grit and determination. And this is why, the statement we did before, your stated to create it statement, is so important, and why you need to get emotionally attached to it. Because holding on to your dream and why it's important, how it's going to make you feel, is going to be like your compass and your fire to keep you on the right path and keep going when it gets hard. Like for me, I want to improve my mountain biking skills because I want to be able to go to local trails and have fun and not be afraid while I'm riding. Doing this, or like you could say, improving on my skill set, will make me feel proud of myself and confident and stronger. Like I'll have more fun riding, and like, so you can see that like this type of statement you can apply to anything. It just doesn't have to be humongous life changes. It can be smaller things too, like wanting to get better on the bike, because it's not just about getting better on the bike. It's not just about leaving your job. It's not just about whatever you think it's about. It's really about trusting yourself, believing in yourself, and knowing that you have the power to do this thing. And knowing that it's important and you want to do it because you know it's going to make you feel proud, satisfied, more fulfilled, more joyful. Fill in the blank for you, but like this is why it's important. And this is why it's important to start here with this basic exercise. You might be like, this sounds like kindergarten, but you have to start with the basics. If you don't know where you want to go, if you don't know what your goal is and why it's important to you, then you're just going to keep living this wish-washy, reactive life. And I know because I did that for a long time. So let this statement be your guide. Define your dream and your why behind it, and use that to be your fuel. Use that to be your fuel in the face of obstacles, when things get hard, when things get challenging, when things get scary. Come back to this statement. I actually recommend writing this down every day, because that's what our brains need. You literally have to rewire your subconscious brain for what is important to you. Your conscious brain is only functioning while you're awake, but your subconscious brain never goes to sleep. While you're sleeping, it's still working. Like, it's always on. And when you write these statements down every day, when you wake up, before you go to bed, it helps reprogram your subconscious. And that's the key there, is like getting your subconscious on board. And I do have a little free mindset email series. I can put the link for that in the comments. It walks through more about mindset, your subconscious brain, like what that is, how it works, why it's so important, and how rewiring that is essential for changing your life. Change your mind, change your life. That's my motto. Let's see. So, like, you have to step into the hard stuff to get to the good stuff. Like, we all want to be assured that if we do this, we'll be successful. We want to be assured that our actions will be successful. We want that certainty. And that certainty doesn't exist outside ourselves. That certainty of this is what I want, the certainty of making it happen, is not outside ourselves. But we think it is, and we want it to be. So that's why, like, we want this to happen, but we never try to make it happen, because there's not certainty that it'll happen. And then we get confused and we can't make a decision. And we end up paralyzed by worry, fear, the unknown, like waiting to have a good feeling about it before we start that business, before we get the education for this other career path, before we start writing the book, before this, before that. We want reassurance that things will be fine. We want to have a good fuzzy feeling about it before we can make a decision. But here's the thing. The decisions that we need to make to move our life forward aren't going to feel good. I might start crying. They're going to feel good. They're going to feel scary and uncomfortable, but it's what we need. I have a story I want to share, but I don't know if I can do it without crying. Yeah, I get emotional about this stuff, but that's good because I'm emotionally connected to my why. So yeah, moving across the country without a job, that didn't feel good. That was scary. That had a lot of uncertainty, but it led me to a different life. A better life, a life where I was scary, but took control and created a different type of life for myself that didn't involve a boss, didn't involve 9 to 5. Deciding to leave my marriage, that was really, really scary. That's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I lost friends. I lost family members. But I wasn't happy and I needed to make a change. So these are the things that like that we know we need to do, but like put the blinders on and like, oh God, that's too scary, that's too hard. And we like wait for a feel good, and like the things you need to do to make the change that you want probably aren't gonna feel good at first. They're gonna be scary. They're gonna be feeling. But you know, you move past that, you stay connected to why it's important. And on the other side of all that fear and like hard and yucky is the good stuff. It's the life you want. It's the relationship you want. It's the freedom you want. It's the job you want. It's on the other side of the hard stuff. So stop waiting to feel good and choose to act. Choose that your dreams and like your life and your happiness is more important than anything else. And if you remember nothing from today other than this, remember this. If you want to change something, choose it. If you want to change something, choose it. Choose it over your excuses. Choose it over your fear. Choose it over your doubt. Choose it over the uncertainty. Well, I don't know how to do this and I don't know how to do that. You can figure that out. Like I said in my live last week, the biggest hurdle, the biggest thing is just deciding to do it, choosing, deciding. Everything else can fall into place. There's no straight line from where you are right now to this is where I want to be. I mean, it's going to be like, it's going to be curvy and bumpy, but it's at least moving in that direction. You can figure everything out. You can get mentoring and get educate yourself on whatever you don't know. Google it. Like you can figure out how to do XYZ, but the biggest thing is you have to decide that you want to do it. So here's something that was in my favorite author, Nancy Tara, this book. She talks about feeding the monster. She's like, the monster you feed will live. Feed your fear, feed your doubt, and that will live, that will get stronger. Feed your faith, feed your desire, then that will get stronger. Your faith in yourself and the unknown has to be higher than your fear. It's not about getting rid of fear. Fear is going to be, it's going to be there. It's going to change. It's going to keep coming up. There's no like getting rid of fear. The fear's there, but your faith is stronger. You know, fear is a temporary thing. It's a feeling. A lot of the times it's this thing that hasn't happened that you're just scared of it happening. But your belief in yourself, your belief that your dream life exists and is possible, that is what you hold on to. And that is what gets you there. So feed what you want to live. Don't feed the fear monster. The fear monster will get bigger. Feed the faith and the belief, and that will get stronger. Your fear will get smaller, your faith will get bigger. Your dream, because your dream has to outweigh your fear and your doubt. Otherwise, you know, the scale will never change. The scale will tend to be fear is stronger. You know, you have to consciously change that. And it's possible and it's doable, but it takes your effort and your dedication. And that is an inside job. So, going to close up now. Going to ask this one more time, like, what is a leap of faith that you're considering now? Go back to, the first question I answered. What is that dream? If you could do anything, what would you do? That is going to require a leap of faith to get you there. So these are the steps. One, state it. Nothing was going to happen if you don't first state that you want it to happen. State it to create it. Get real with what you're afraid of. No vague fears here. Like, we all have vague bullshit that like keeps us stopped. Write down what you're afraid of that could happen. And if it does happen, then what? Remember the then what rabbit hole. Like, let your brain explore the possibilities of what could go wrong. Like, kind of see what's irrational, see what's rational. Like, if that did happen, what would you do? Like, work your brain through it. And then come back to your why it's important, why it's important to you, why it's meaningful, how you'll feel when you accomplish it, what it can do for you and your family. And then choose it. Choose it, choose it, choose it. Choose it. It's not going to happen if you don't choose it. And then 5, just start taking small actions. What's one little tiny thing you can do? What's the next tiny thing you can do? That is how you move brick by brick, 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 brick by brick. That's how you move. That's how you build the path to the future that you want. So, ask yourself this, like, what's a small action you can take today, this week, tomorrow, to move you in that direction? Don't wait for someday, because someday is not going to happen unless you make it happen. So that's all I have for today. I just want to empower you that you can change anything about your life that you want. You can. Have to believe that. And the step 1 is getting clear on what you want to happen, all right? So if you want more guidance, I have a list of books that I recommend. This is one of them. This is really like life changer right here. I have a list of books I recommend for personal development, mindset, money mindset, and manifesting on my website, adventuring365.com. Keep tuning into the lives. I'm going to be doing a live each week on Thursdays, unless something comes up and I can't do Thursdays, I'll let you know. Follow the 15-minute mindset exercise I have on my blog. So again, adventuring365.com, go there. You can see the blog, 15-minute mindset ritual to really help retrain your subconscious mind. And, start by doing the exercises I mentioned today, answer the questions, like actually sit down and think about what you want to change in your life, what's stopping you, what are small actions you can do to start. And if you want help, like one-on-one, let's work through this, help, guidance, reach out. I offer mindset mentoring. I have an 8-week program right now called Create a Life You Love. We walk through getting clarity on your goals, getting clarity on your dream life, getting clarity on what is working, what isn't working, getting clarity on self-limiting beliefs, self-imposed limitations, kind of what's going on in your subconscious, stuff you're carrying around that you might not realize, how fear shows up in your life, how fear shows up in your body, pushing past, working through those fears and how that feels, working on money mindset. This is all stuff that we can work through one-on-one together. And again, if you go to adventuring365.com, you can find out more information on that. But also just feel free to reach out with questions. We can set up a free one-on-one chat just to kind of learn more about each other, see if I'm a good fit for you, and if you'd like to work together one-on-one on, just creating a life you love and what that looks like for you and creating an action plan to make it happen. That's all I have for you today, my friends. Thank you for joining me here. Stay tuned. I'll be back again next Thursday, and I hope you have a good one.